An Ordinary Red Miata. When I bought this car in 2013, its purpose was to get me around town cheaply and reliably, while also giving me the opportunity to dip my toes into a new chassis. I never planned to do a crazy build or try to amass a YouTube following. I just needed a car to get from A to B while I worked on my other projects, and I couldn't afford what I actually wanted at the time, which was an AE86, so a Miata was kind of the next closest thing. But little did I know, this Ordinary Red Miata was about to spend the next decade teaching me more about cars than I ever thought I would know, lead to some of the most fun behind the wheel experiences I would ever have, and help me meet some awesome people along the way. It turned out to be the perfect platform to allow me to dive into what I was truly interested in, which was modifying and tuning engines and testing all sorts of different modifications without absolutely bankrupting the family farm. And oh boy, have I tested some stuff out. This car has had 3 engines, 4 differentials, 5 turbochargers, 7 transmissions. All I'm missing is a partridge in a pear tree, and I'd be able to write an entire Christmas carol about this thing's history. It's also done over 500 dyno pulls and has almost 250,000 miles on the chassis. But in the last few years, it's become more obvious that I never really cared too much about how the car looked. And that's mostly because it does live a pretty hard life. It sits outside in the baking California sun all day, every day, gets parked under sappy trees and in dusty truck yards, and you'd be a fool to think I hesitate for a second when I get the opportunity to take it to the track or the canyons just to avoid a few rock chips. On top of that, I'm normally focused on whatever mechanical issue the car is having while I try to keep all 500 horses within the confines of their 118 cubic inch stable, or simply planning out the next modification that's going to inevitably put it on jack stands once again. But it's actually been running really well for the past few months, so I had some time to spruce it up a bit. It's not just the paint that needed attention either. It had damage to the top where it looks like someone tried to steal it. There were holes drilled in the bumper from an old quick release kit, and this fender had been pulled in about 12 times from reversing into my driveway at the wrong angle with the aggressive tire fitment. Yeah, the same driveway that breaks a lip every 6 months or so. It also had unbranded eBay TSIs that didn't fit very well and had no lenses, a Bride replica seat that was pretty cooked, and a Grip Royal steering wheel with deteriorating leather and failing stitches. And since I am planning on bringing this car to Miata Reunion this year for the first time since 2018, I thought I better get it cleaned up a little bit if people are actually going to see it in person. And I even cleaned my wheels for once. Now you can probably tell from some of those clips that the paint is far from perfect, and it does still need to be polished to get some of the wet sanding scratches out, and it was also a pretty inexpensive paint job, which is exactly what this car needs, as it's still going to continue to live its outside life into the foreseeable future. And the last thing I wanted to do was pay like $6 grand to have to worry about the thing 24/7. This paint job was just over $2,000, including the fiberglass work on the top, filling the radio antenna hole, fixing the fender and other various damaged areas, and I think it came out pretty dang good.